Rise and shine on Australia's Vision Christian Radio.
And today it's a very special day because Fel is away at her daughter's 18th birthday, and I am joined by the one and the only Mr. Des Kennedy from Momentum Australia. Des, welcome to Rise and Shine.
Hey, it's a really good thing that there's only one of me. It's really good. Can you imagine a world with two Des Kennedys in it?
I think
it's a scary thought, really.
It would be an exciting place, Des.
It'd be different, that's for sure.
Well, I'm really looking forward to having you as our co-host today. Momentum Australia is all about men. They have an amazing podcast, goes to more than 60 nations across the world, speaking to men, about men, with men. But today, Des, we're talking to men and women, aren't we? We're talking to people all across Australia.
How fantastic is that? And it's amazing the reach that Vision has.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love the fact that, these little towns pop up, and I've never heard of them. But they are listening to Vision Radio. It's just like a fantastic thing. It's
true. They're there, Des. There's almost 800, I believe, transmitters across Australia and across Australia.
I think it's actually over that. I think it's over that.
Yeah, it's around about 800, we'll call it. And also we've got digital in Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane. Yes, there are people all across Australia listening to us today, and what an honour it is for us. But you know what? We're going to have a really good show today talking about, what piece of advice has helped you in a tough time. And we'll be talking to Shaun Hart, the former AFL star Brisbane Lions player, and getting his perspective on that.
Thanks for streaming the Rise and Shine Daily podcast. Please subscribe to the show, rate it on your favourite podcast platform, and share the link on your socials. It all helps get the word out.
Des, yesterday we had a guest on called Steve Mail, an Englishman living in London, and he talked about reaching out to others. I believe you heard that yesterday.
Yeah, it was a great interview, wasn't it? It's just fantastic. You just can't help but love his passion for speaking the gospel. It's just amazing. He'll just go out there and he'll do it. And I think it was Fel said yesterday, there's a lot of people who are scared to do that. But it just is opening up to people and saying, hey, have you heard about Jesus?
Yeah.
It's that simple, isn't it?
He's so bold and so in your face. Yeah. And I thought it would be nice just to listen to the best of yesterday, where he talks about how to reach out to others.
Well, really, I think the best evangelists in the world are those who are newborn converts. Yes. Because what happens is they enter into a period called first love. Right. It's like a honeymoon period. So the first key that I could say to anyone listening to this is, as an evangelist, I was in love with Jesus. Yeah. I mean, I was away with the fairies. I mean, I just got up to everybody and hug them and love them. They say, "Get off, mate! Get off! Get off, you fool!" And I just tell everyone I love it because I love Jesus so much that I wanted to tell everyone about. Now, I didn't know anything. I'd never read the Bible. I didn't know A to B. I knew nothing. But there's three principles that it's in my books, and I've taught this all around the world. There's three principles to evangelism. The first is approach. When Christians approach non-Christians with that condescending, religious, hard-hearted attitude, are you a Christian? Why not? You should be. Straight away, you've blown it. But if you approach people with compassion and love and concern and without fear, you open the door to the next part, which is when you can present the gospel. And the gospel's simple. The life, death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus. But there's a real key in sharing your testimony. That's why the Bible says you overcome the devil by the blood of the Lamb and the word of your testimony. So I encourage people everywhere, say, your testimony is powerful. Now, a lot of people say, yes, but I haven't killed anyone. I haven't robbed any banks. I really haven't got a great testimony. I say, wrong, absolutely wrong. Your testimony is tailor-made by God for someone somewhere. Then, of course, I've learned from all the great evangelists. D.L. Moody. D.L. Moody said he wouldn't let 24 hours pass in a day without speaking to someone about Jesus Christ. But then that will bring us through to the third principle, and that is close the deal. You see, in the sales world, they talk about approach, present, and close. We're not salesmen. We're not selling anything. But what we are is we're giving away Jesus. Yeah. We're giving away Jesus. So you approach them with love. You share your testimony, and then this is what I've done for 45 years. Hey, can I pray for you? Can I pray for you? And you lead them to Jesus. How's anyone ever going to get saved unless Christians do their job and go and reach them and lead them to Christ? I've noticed in 45 years, fish don't jump out of the ocean and come bouncing into the church doors. You've got to go out and catch them. Yeah. Line fishing, one by one. You've got to go out and catch them. Jesus said, I'll call you to be fishers of men. not keepers of aquariums. And so that's it in a nutshell. I hope that helps.
So good,
Fantastic.
mate. So good. And Steve, you guys are still on the streets of London now. Your church does a lot of outreach, and I believe one of your spiritual sons actually was put in jail for 24 hours just for preaching the gospel. Tell us about that.
Well, I don't know if you're aware, but we've got a woke government here. You all know what that means. They're leftists, they're Marxists, but at the same time, it's insidious. They're trying to pass laws to shut down Christianity and to shut down street preachers, and it's wrong. It's wrong. Now, one of my boys, he was out there sharing the gospel just down the road here, and he was arrested by the policeman and put in jail for 24 hours.
Wow.
Now, it's interesting. So when he was sharing it on the street, and I got the microphone and I let it rip. I don't know whether I sent that to you, Andy, that clip. And I let it rip down the streets. And I said, this nation should be embarrassed and should be ashamed of itself when we got a corrupt government and a corrupt police force. Do your job. Go and get the terrorists and go and arrest the criminals. But no one should ever be arrested for preaching the gospel of the kingdom. And the laws of man are outdated and out of place when they take on the laws of God. And it was powerful. But yeah, the poor fella was locked up for 24 hours. Can you believe it?
Yeah, well, I actually can believe it, Steve. Yeah, it's so sad and so messed up, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing actually that with the law at the moment as it is, Steve, are you in danger then of everybody when you go out every day and you're on the streets? Is that a very real danger that everyone could be locked up just for preaching, just for sharing their faith? That's every time you go out?
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, listen, just the other day, a couple of policemen, they came up to me and they started off and they said, have you got a license? I said, absolutely. I've got the highest authority in the land to do what I'm doing. And then I said to them, listen, go and check in with your constables. They know who I am. I'm Steve Mail. I do this all the time. I said, now listen, don't waste my time. Jog on. Go and do your job.
Yeah.
And listen, I would love to see them try and arrest me. I would love to see it in the mighty name of Jesus. Nobody stops the preaching of the gospel. But around the world, guys, I mean, I get everywhere I go, by the way, I preach in the churches, but then I insist that they provide for me a PA system so I can go out and sing, bless the people, and preach the gospel. All over the world, I've had this. I've had the police come, people come, and listen, I've learned. You deal with it, you shake it off, and you press on.
Rise and shine on Vision Christian Radio.
What's it like so far, mate? 10 minutes in, are you doing okay?
So far, so good. I haven't pressed any wrong buttons. It's been amazing.
Well, not yet, but that could come later.
Yeah, it could. You could better believe it.
But you're from Momentum Australia, and it's an amazing ministry which impacts men and women all over the world. I believe your podcast now goes to over 60 different nations, and you're also on radio stations all across Australia, including Vision. Tell us the why behind Momentum Australia. Why did Des Kennedy start Momentum Australia?
Oh, look, there's so many reasons. I mean, essentially, men do life on their own in general. And so anything that can help men, as they're going about their day, whether it be sewing into them in terms of, what we do wrong as men, but also to inspire them to do greater. And so, I see we're actually sending out emails at the minute, which is 18 things that men get wrong in their marriage. And so, they're pretty fundamental type things, but that's all
only,
about
only 18. I mean, that's not. I thought you could have gone a bit higher.
Sorry,
than that.
Top 18.
Top 18.
Yeah, and it started because I got involved in men's ministry at church, and we had lots of men's groups, and COVID hit and it put an end to that, and I ended up being down in Port Macquarie, and so I had the opportunity to do a radio show in Port Macquarie thanks to the Remit station down there, and so it sort of grew from there. We started with one or two stations, and then we just reached out to all the stations, and like almost 100% of the stations we reached to said, we need to have a show for men.
Yeah.
And so it was really, really cool. And then Vision came on board, and it's been crazy.
So you'd say it's a combination of you seeing a need and doing your best to fill it. And obviously God seemed to get involved there as well, because really for every station to say yes, that's huge, isn't it?
It was interesting because we had a guy who is a content director for a station, and his answer was, when we said to him about doing it, he said, you guys are brave, because, many people have tried it and failed.
Yeah, right.
And so, we said, well, we're going to step out and we're going to try it. And, we just haven't looked back. It's been full on. It's been a crazy ride for 4 years. It's been great.
Well, because you're obviously touching nerves. You're obviously speaking to people where they're at. And like you said, there is an issue with isolation and loneliness amongst men. By nature, many men aren't good at opening up and talking about their feelings. So I guess you guys are creating a safe space where men can hear men and sometimes women talking about men's issues, but they don't feel too exposed or too invested, I suppose, like going to a meeting and opening up and asking questions.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things that we say in Momentum, like every time we have a show, is, guys, don't do life on your own. And for that reason, we've got a care line number, which is 1-800-000-MEN. Easy to remember.
It is, yeah.
And when you go to that code, you can have a safe and confidential conversation. And so, even men in men's group, get together with somebody, find somebody you trust, find someone who's on the same wavelength spiritually, even physically as you are, and go walking together. Just talk deeply about what's happening in your world. Because if you build those relationships before you get into strife, then when you do get into strife, you've got that person who knows you way they think, he knows what your issues are, and he can come alongside you and help you, and vice versa.
Yeah, so good, Des. Well, Des, I'm really looking forward to having you as our co-host today.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, hear him. He's loving it already. Look, he may not be gone tomorrow. He might be here tomorrow as well. He may not want to leave. But Des, I did put it out there on Facebook yesterday. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received during a tough time? So we're going to ask you that question. If you're listening right now, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received when you're going through a tough time? Because sometimes we do go through tough times, don't we, Des? The Bible doesn't promise a problem-free life, but it promises a full life and a life that God is always with you, never leaves you or forsakes you. But sometimes we go through trials, as the Bible says. So if you've been given some really good advice when you're going through a tough time, give us a call today on 1-800-316-316. You could even text us. Des is meaning the text messages on 0447 488 316. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received going through a tough time?
Brought to you by the generosity of Vision family members across Australia and around the world. The Rise and Shine podcast.
Are you ready for a challenge? Listen to the mystery sound, correctly name the Bible story, and win a great prize. Sounds easy, but is it? Rise and Shine's Bible Story Sound Off.
Des, I call it Australia's greatest radio Bible game, I should say. It's called the Bible Story Sound Off. What happens, Des, we have a time machine, which I'm going to fire up right now. Nuclear powered, I might add. Runs on nuclear energy, very clean energy. Wow. We fly back in time, Des.
Wow.
Are you digging it?
I wish I could do that. That'd be amazing.
Well, maybe one day I'll show you how to fly the machine.
Yeah.
And we go back and we actually observe a Bible story, a Bible event.
Right.
That guy. We're going to ignore him. We're going to keep going. Okay. Right now we've just recorded the sound from the Bible, Des, and we are about to come back into the present. Here we are, back in the present. We're going to play the sound, Des. Now, if you're just joining us today and you're wondering what happened yesterday because you weren't listening, someone solved the mystery yesterday. The sound from yesterday was actually the temple, when Jesus went into the temple when they were selling doves and different things, and Jesus made a cord of whips and he started throwing down and he got rid of them. And that was actually solved yesterday. So this is a brand new sound, Des, which we've just extracted from a time in the Bible. Are you ready to listen to this sound, Des?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Have a listen.
Wow.
That, I can assure you, Des, that is the sound from a Bible story.
Play it again.
Have you read this one, mate? Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
I can promise you that is the sound from a Bible story. Now, if you think you know the answer, because, I mean, hey, well, who wouldn't know the answer from this, Des? Just give us a call. 1-800-316-316. That's 1-800-316-316. If you know what this sound from the Bible is. What is the Bible story behind this sound? One more listen, Des. Have a think about it.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me Vision's breakfast show is now available around the clock and on demand? Incredible! The Rise and Shine podcast. Rise and Shine.
It's definitely from the Bible, I can promise you that.
I was going to say like somebody walking down George Street in Sydney.
Could be that.
But it's not. That's not biblical.
Well, I haven't seen a George Street in the Bible, Des. I've seen a street called Straight in the book of Acts.
There you go.
That was
That's
referred to. But one of our brave listeners, Bev, has called in, and Bev's fairly confident she knows what the answer is. Okay, Bev, what do you think?
Yes, I do.
Ooh, what is it?
I think it's crickets in the Garden of Gethsemane where Jesus was.
Wow.
Well, a good guess.
Des, what do you think of that?
I think it's fantastic.
Let's have another listen. Are these crickets?
Oh, you can see why you would say that, can't you?
I mean,
you pick it.
I've done 2 years of Bible college and a history degree focusing on ancient and modern history, Des. I don't even know if there were crickets in the garden, though, but if there were,
It would sound like
Bev,
that. Yeah.
that is a cracker of a guess. How confident are you, Bev?
I don't really know now.
Well, I've not been to Israel, so I don't know if they've got crickets, but that is such a good answer. But guess what, Bev? It's not the answer today, but it was a very brave effort. Thank you so much for calling us, Bev.
No worries. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too.
It's cool.
Thank you. Bye.
She was good, Bev. She was confident, wasn't she?
She was, yeah. It was. I thought she was onto it.
Well, I thought she was onto it too. She was
Yeah.
so confident. But you know what? The sound lives another day. So the Bible Story Sound Off will be played again on Friday, tomorrow being World Hunger Day. We won't be playing it today. But thanks to everyone who called in. We did have a couple of callers call in. The switchboard was lighting up. But you know what, Des? It's good having you on the show. So are you enjoying the show?
I'm having a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, there's more to come.
Yeah,
I think
it's
we're going to
great.
do a Delvin with Des segment next where you actually turn the tables on me and ask me a few questions.
Sure, that's great.
The Rise and Shine podcast.
Des, you're no stranger to interviewing people, are you?
No, I do it all the time. And certainly in Port Macquarie, I've got a show called Delving with Des. And
Delving with Des?
Delving with Des, where we delve into people's lives and discover a bit about them. And I'm going to delve into your life right now, Andy.
Oh, okay.
So tell me, I don't know much about you, really.
Okay.
So tell me where you were born for a start.
I was born in a town called Binnaway in country New South Wales. My dad was a sheep farmer, and Binnaway is about 25 minutes drive from Coonabarabran. You might have heard of Coonabarabran.
I think I've heard of it. I don't think I've ever been to it.
Okay, an hour and a half from Dubbo. You must have heard of Dubbo.
Yeah, I've been to the Dubbo show.
There you go.
There you go. So I know that part of that area really well. I actually had friends who had a farm at Yeovil.
Okay.
You know where Yeovil was.
I've
near
heard of it,
Wellington. Yeah, it's out that way too. So tell me, what was life growing up on a property?
Oh, look, I loved it. My earliest memories are good memories, Des. Of just driving around the farm with my dad in the ute, you know, because we're sheep farmers, so he'd just drive around the paddocks. He had a few thousand sheep and a couple of 2,500 acre property, a nice property, had a nice hill on it, good water in the dams, and I just loved it. I loved being with my dad when he'd be shooting pigs with the local farmers. They go pig shooting together, and you know, I was just one of those little boys that loved being with his dad.
So did you have your own gun?
I had a little plastic one.
A little plastic one.
Didn't go too good shooting
not
pigs.
Not too damage with that.
Yeah, it's funny when you have your earliest memories. I remember I must have been a very small little boy, had this toy plastic gun, and I was standing with the farmers as they were waiting for the pigs to run through this creek. And I remember this other farmer said to my dad, "Oh, what are you doing? He shouldn't be here. He's too young." And my dad, he was a pretty casual guy. He said, "Oh, okay." So he said, "Son, get back in the car." So I had to go and sit in the car with my little plastic gun pointing out the window in case the pigs charged us, you know.
That's true.
It's just one of those early memories I had, yeah.
Isn't that amazing that you have that sort of memory?
Yeah.
You know, from things in your past. I mean, I have them too when I was a little boy, things that really upset me. Or I can remember once I had a boil on my knee.
A boil?
Yeah,
Oh, gee.
and so I wasn't allowed to go to a Christian Christmas party
Why?
that I wanted to go to because this thing was infected and it was really bad.
I
And
thought you were going to say because it reminded everyone of the boils in Egypt when Pharaoh was disobeying Moses.
Yeah, that's right. But I remember being so upset and sitting on my mum's knee, crying, sobbing my heart out. So I know what that sort of felt like, that anxiety and so forth. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because like I said, I think we're taking in everything as kids, and people don't realise the impact that behaviours have on kids, be it good or bad.
Yeah, no,
and certainly I do remember, I was like a little sponge. I used to remember lots of things from when I was really young.
Yeah. So there you were on the farm. So when did you leave the farm?
Yeah, so I had 7 years of drought, and my grandfather and dad sort of co-owned the farm, and they decided to sell up.
Oh, right.
So we sold up, and I wasn't really happy about that. We moved to Manly Beach in Sydney.
That's a big move.
It was a huge move.
Was that
Des.
the first time you saw the ocean, or did you see the ocean?
It would have been, yeah. And
Wow.
and we bought this place overlooking Manly. I mean, looking back, it was a slice of paradise. We're up on Queenscliff, if you know Manly Beach, the north end of Manly Beach, with a view of the ocean and a little view of Sydney Harbour. That was my bedroom. But I hated it, Des. I wanted to be back in the country.
Oh, wow. Isn't that amazing? I mean, other people would look at the other way around to say, I love being by the ocean. I would love to have grown up in Sydney by the ocean. It would have been so, so cool. Yeah, but that didn't happen. So tell me about your early experience living in Manly. Were you a surfer? Did you?
Well, no, I didn't like the water. I remember my mum forcing us to go and learn how to swim, and I had to join nippers, and I just didn't like it. I wasn't a water baby, And so I kind of resisted it for a while. And we had relatives back in the country. My mum had 7 brothers and sisters. My dad had a sister, and they were all kind of country people. Yeah. So all of our holidays were back in the bush. We'd always go back to
So you look forward
relatives.
to that?
Yeah, I look forward to it. But like anything, Daz, you adapt and you get used to a new environment. And so I did become a surfer. I did become one of the local kids surfing all the time. And I did learn to love the ocean eventually, yeah.
Well, that's really cool. So tell me how the major milestone in your life in terms of, you went to school, you went to university maybe. How did that all unfold for you?
Yeah, I think the major milestone was when I was 17. There was a bunch of Christian surfers on the beaches. We weren't a Christian family.
Yeah, right.
I say to people, the only Bible verse I ever heard quoted in my house was Jesus wept. It was something went wrong with Dad. Like, Jesus wept. He used to say it all the time. I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know it was from the Bible, but it was. So at the age of 17, some Christian surfers were being very active, very bold, like Steve Mail we listened to earlier today, that evangelist. They were in our faces. They were preaching to us, telling us about Jesus. And at first I resisted it, but I started running from God. And eventually, Des, I succumbed to the Christian message. Wow. And that's how I became a Christian at the age of 17. And my life radically and totally changed.
It's absolutely stunning. So you say it radically changed. In what way do you remember it changing?
Well, my heart changed. I went from being a very fearful person, a very anxious person, a very depressed person. As much as I was partying and drinking and doing drugs with all my friends, and I was we thought we were the cool kids, the local kids on the beach there. I wasn't a happy camper on the inside, and suddenly I had this joy. I've never had that. I'd never had that joy before. So that's how my life radically changed. Des, you're a very good interview. Delving with Des, but I'd love to talk to you all day, but we better move on, mate. But thank you for interviewing me. I do enjoy being interviewed because I'm normally the one interviewing. Yeah. But if you're just joining us, this is Des Kennedy. He's from Momentum Australia, and he's my co-host today because Fel is away today. So we're going to have a lot of fun today, but we're also asking the question, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received in a tough time? We'd love to hear your answer to this question. Coming up after the hour, we're going to be talking to Shaun Hart, former AFL star, Brisbane Lions player. He went through a very tough time in his life and he found a way out. And that's what's inspired us to ask this question today. What's the best piece of advice?
We're caffeinated and ready to face the day. This is Rise and Shine on Vision.
Des, we're an hour into the show. How's it feel?
It feels good. I think Phil needs to think long and hard about her career. Well, because I think you and I have such a thing going here.
Well, boys in the hood, mate. That's what it is. Boys in the hood.
I'm kidding, Phil. I'm kidding.
Tell her to maybe pray about it. She needs to pray about it. Maybe stay at home, be more time with the kids.
That's right.
Work on that Proverbs 31 thing that she talks about a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah, she really loves the Proverbs 31 woman. Yeah, she loves it. We were talking about her yesterday, actually. Yeah. Proverbs 31 woman. We'll probably get to heaven, and that woman will say, you know what, I wasn't that good. God was so generous in his description of me.
It's such an amazing definition of a godly woman, isn't it?
It is.
It's crazy.
Almost unattainable. But
that's right.
But anyway, Des, so we do a weather break at the top of the hour. We've just done the news, obviously. And I'm going to do the weather in Brisbane today because we don't often do that. Weather in Brisbane today is a minimum of 12, top of 21, and a few showers around in Brisbane today. Now, the great thing about Brisbane, Des, is we now have digital radio for Vision across the whole Brisbane region. So anyone in Brisbane can actually hear us on their digital radio, on their smart speaker, and many people do. And we do have a growing audience in Brisbane, which is really exciting that Vision's reach is reaching bigger into the city of Brisbane. But Des, do you have a Bible verse for us today?
I do indeed. One of my favourite ones is James 1, 2 verse 2 to 4, and it says, "Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds. For you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness, and steadfastness has its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing."
Great verse. What do you like about that?
I just love the fact that we can strive. We've got God's strength with us, and it inspires us to be much better than we would be otherwise. Yeah.
So good, mate. Isn't it good how you can read out a verse like that and 5 different people can have 5 different takes from it
Exactly.
that they take away and they can apply to their lives? And
Is that true about the Bible? When you read the Bible, you read a verse, and as you rightly said, everybody will have their own view of that verse, and it'll speak into their each life in a different way.
Yeah.
It's cool.
100%. Well, speaking of the Bible, Des, after this next song by Zach Williams, you and I are going to have a little bit of a Bible study, and you're going to get to interview me again about my favourite book in the Bible, which is the book of Genesis.
It's the daily podcast of your favourite Aussie breakfast show, Rise and Shine.
It's great being able to interview you on Vision Radio. It's really cool. Well, an interesting question.
Hang on. Are we doing Delvin with Des again?
We're doing Delvin with Des again.
Look, if you're just joining us, this is Des Kennedy from Momentum Australia. He's replacing Phil today. He's trying to muscle in on her job. He's already made that plain to us all. At least, thank you for your honesty, Des. He's not hiding it. He's trying to take over. So Delvin with Des. So you want to interview me now, Des? We normally do a Bible study now. So why don't you interview me about my favourite book in the Bible?
Well, I'm happy to do that. What is your favourite book?
I'd have to say Genesis.
Genesis, right at the very beginning.
Right.
What is it about Genesis that really ticks your box? What does it make you get excited about that book of the Bible?
Well, as I shared earlier in your Delve with Des segment, I wasn't from a Christian background, so the Bible was new to me, and I still love reading stories in the Bible. I'm a great story guy. I like telling stories, and I like listening to stories. And when I'm preaching, Des, I say this to people, all my stories are true.
Yeah.
But even if they're not true, they contain a truth. That if you apply it, it can change your life.
That's amazing. That's a good way out, man.
It's a great way.
You can tell any story.
So Jesus was a great storyteller. So I love the book of Genesis, Des, because it's just full of stories.
And it is full of stories. What's your favourite story? What's the one that gives you the most inspiration?
Well, I mean, I'm going to have to start with the first one, God creating the heavens and the earth. That's a story. It's told in story form. And a lot of people stumble with that because they want the scientific explanation of how God made the heavens and the earth. And I love God because he's just creative. Yeah. And he's like, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. He doesn't tell us how. He doesn't tell us the science behind and all the biology because we don't need to know that. We just got to trust him that he made the world.
But not only do we not know it, but we couldn't fathom it even if we did. I mean, if God tried to explain to us how he put the matter where it is, I mean, we just wouldn't understand it.
It'd be like having a latte of Albert Einstein, wouldn't it? You'd be lost.
Yeah,
You'd be like,
right.
Albert, just calm down. Can we just talk about the sport, please, or the weather? Something simple.
And the good thing about Genesis is it sets you up for an understanding of God and God's power and who Jesus is in that context as well as the creator.
Yeah. And so that's the first story. But then you move on to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that family, and then Joseph. Yeah. That part of Genesis, I just really enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, they're great stories, aren't they? I mean, there was Joseph, like his life was, from all accounts, over.
Yeah.
And then God put him in a place where he was just all powerful. Amazing.
Yeah, and the other thing about Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph, Des, which I really like, is the fact that they were very human.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't say any of those people were perfect humans.
Well, certainly Joseph's brothers weren't all that fantastic.
That's right. Yeah. They weren't the greatest siblings. And if you've never read the story, they put him into prison. They hated him. They were jealous of him. And they actually put him into prison as a young guy, and he had to face that hardship. I mean, talk about going through a tough time. Old Joseph went through a very tough time.
Exactly. And there's such great Bible truths that seep right through the whole of the Bible. I mean, I'm not a theologian.
Theologian. Yep.
I'll get that right.
You're a desologian,
A desologian, that's right. and so, but there's so much truth that seeps through from Genesis right through the rest of the Bible. I can understand why you would call it your favorite book.
Yeah. And just the journey of Abraham, just stepping out in faith, leaving his family and just going to a new land. And as a young man, Des, I did that. I left home. I went up to Papua New Guinea for a year when I was 20.
Right.
Didn't know where I was going. I mean, I knew I was going to Bible college in Papua New Guinea. Didn't have a clue about travel, never had a passport, never been on a plane. And then after that, I went to Nigeria for another year. So those 2 years of my life, away from family, away from friends, away from my homeland, really shaped the person I am today, with a heart for missions and a heart to see the gospel preached across the world.
And it would change your core in terms of your values that you had as a young boy. You know, going to the likes of Nigeria, which has got a huge reputation. Now, Papua New Guinea was pretty wild in its time too, right?
Yeah, well, maybe it made me a bit wild, or maybe I was already wild before I went. I don't know, but I love
You found
both.
your true self.
That's it. Well, I actually did. And, I actually found family in PNG. A PNG pastor, Pastor Luke Franklin, kind of adopted me as his son. Because often in Islander culture, they'll adopt you. And he said, you're my son now. This guy he'd literally preached the gospel powerfully across PNG. He'd seen the dead raised to
It
life.
didn't sound like a local. With a name like that.
No, but he is. He was a local boy.
Right, okay.
And he was from New Britain, the Isle of New Britain, and up also in the Bogia region on the north coast there. But he adopted me as his son, and God had used him to raise the dead, start churches. He was a powerful man of God. And he kind of adopted me as his son, and I really felt it was from God. And so I looked up to him as my spiritual father in the Lord. I used to call him Papa. He passed away a couple of years ago.
Oh, wow.
So it did really shape my life being in PNG that year, yeah.
Isn't it amazing how you have in the Christian walk, you have, men, women who just stand out. You look at them and you say, hey, that guy is a godly guy. I'm going to get close to him.
Yeah.
And anybody who's listening, if you don't have somebody like that in your world, find them. Find somebody who you just, you look up to, who spiritually is strong, who knows the Bible. One of the first guys I ever met as a child was a guy called Harry Bell.
Oh, yeah.
And he was a teacher he was English.
Yeah.
But he taught the Bible, all around the UK.
Yeah.
And he had polio, so he could hardly walk. But this guy went blind.
Oh, wow.
And he knew the Bible so well that he was able to keep on teaching the Bible from memory.
Incredible.
Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing.
Yeah.
And that would have had a massive impact on your life. But,
yeah, exactly.
Delving with Des. I really enjoyed the Delving with Des. You're a good interviewer, Des, but we better move on. But that was our Bible study. So normally, Phil and I do a little Bible study, but we'll be back into that on Friday in the book of James. And the reason we're back into it on Friday is because tomorrow, Des, we're actually doing World Hunger Day here at Vision, where we're going to help feed thousands of kids in Uganda. And that's going to be the focus of the show tomorrow. And later this hour, we're actually going to talk about that and just listen to one of the kids from Uganda talk about the impact that Feed the Hungry have on him. But if you're just joining us, this is Des Kennedy joining me. So it's the Andy and Des show today. And also this hour, we'll be talking to Sean Hart, former AFL player, about a tough time he went through in his life. And we're asking the question today. We'd love you to answer it. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
You found the podcast of Vision's breakfast show, Rise and Shine. Rise and Shine.
We asked the question earlier, Des, what's the best piece of advice you've received in a tough time? Because we all go through tough times, don't we, Des?
We sure do. Some more than others, in fact.
Yeah, unfortunately. Look at Job, a whole book of the Bible
That's
dedicated
exactly
to him.
right. What a man.
What a man, what a man, what a man, what a man. What a life. I mean, what a nightmare. You wouldn't wish it on your worst enemy. But we've asked that question today. Give us a call on 1-800-316-316. What's the best piece of advice you've received when you're going through a tough time? I can see we've got Wayne from Mackay on the line. Wayne, what's the best piece of advice you've received?
Trusting to God like never before and just treat him like, well, he's your best friend. God's your best friend, the Holy Spirit. He just changed my life forever. I went through a fairly dark place. And the scripture there's quite a few scriptures for it, but it's good that I've been afflicted, that I might learn your statutes, and that's in Psalms 119, verse 70, and there's other scriptures there too. And I just pressed into God, but about 3.5 to 4 years ago there, I was going through a really dark time, and no matter how hard it was, I was still praying. It was to God and talking to Him and doing everything. But what ended up happening was I had this encounter with God for about 6 to 8 weeks, and He said to me, everything that happens here, I want you to give, write it down as a testimony every day, which I did. And I ended up having like a dream or a vision. I've never had this like this before, and it's like I was in a boat. I don't know who was driving. There was a person there, but I never seen his face. And I went out and I ended up in the middle of the sea, and I couldn't see land either way. And I thought, I'll just swim because I used to do a lot of swimming. And anyhow, I nearly started crying because I started thinking things like, sharks are going to get me out here. Yeah. It was so real, the dream and the vision.
Yep.
And he took me out of it and said, what I'm about to take you through, I want you to trust me. And ever since then, I said, well, okay, God, what do you want me to do? And I was stepping out to find out, so I went up to the hospital, got papers there to fill out to do voluntary work, and I heard the voice say, wait, and this is 3.5, nearly 4 years ago, and where he placed me was working with the homeless.
Wow.
Here in Mackay, and we get about 45 to 80 people a day, and that's just my life. It's just changed. My life's never been the same. But
wow. So hang on. So just to clarify, you were going through a really tough time. Do you mind me asking what was going on, mate? What was really hard about it?
I was doing the wrong thing in my life. That I'd given up. I was allowing myself to get into being conformed to the patterns of the world there, which I knew wasn't right. Every day I was repenting of it, but it had a hold of me, and
So you were going through that tough time, and then you felt like God gave you this dream to start helping others, and now you've been helping the homeless. Yeah. And have you found that you've been able to walk out of the bad behaviours and the bad choices you were making because now you're focusing on others?
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's all got to do with getting into that secret place and spending time with God. And
amazing,
yeah, that's cool.
Des,
so
what
cool.
do you think about that, mate? What are your thoughts on this?
I think it's absolutely fantastic, and it's true. You know, when you're your darkest is when you find God the most, and it's really, really cool. And I just love the fact that you find a way of serving others, and that's key to lots that we do in life. You know, whenever we're down and we're struggling, to focus not on yourself but to focus on others is such a great, even in the secular sense, it's a great release and a great way to help people and serve people. So well done, man. That's really cool.
Yeah, so God himself gave you the advice, Wayne, through a dream. And hey, I'm not against that. The Bible says he will give us visions and dreams, and that's incredible. Wayne, thank you so much. I know your story could probably go for an hour, and it would be full of amazing stories and testimonies, but we've got it, mate. You got a dream by God. It got you out of a dark hole, and now you're helping others, and you're in Mackay there. Brother, well done. We just applaud you, and we celebrate you and the win that you're having right now. And thanks so much for calling us this morning on Rise and Shine.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I just hope it on an encouragement to people out there that are going through similar stuff.
Yeah. You will be, mate. You will be, brother.
Yeah, thank you very much.
God bless you, Wayne. See you, mate.
Yeah, God bless you too, mate.
Don't you love, Des, hearing men open up like that?
That's really cool. And you know, his story of getting into the depths of problems in his world, and the only way he could get out of it was through God. And I love that fact. I love the fact that his focus became serving others.
Yeah.
You know, and I just love the fact that he just, you know, helping the homeless, helping them with food, all the stuff that he's doing up there. It's crazy. It's great.
Because it's normal, isn't it? When we're going through a tough time, you want to focus on yourself.
Exactly.
Because you're worried and you're fearful sometimes and you're anxious. And what a Bible truth that he's applied there. Focus on others. Be the good Samaritan who's helping someone else. And that's great advice. Gee, what? This is good. This is really good.
Always encouraging and always fun. Rise and shine on Vision.
We are so blessed, Des, to have a special guest with us. His name is Shaun Hart. He's a former AFL star. Not just a player, he's a star. He won 3 premierships with the Brisbane Lions. He also won the Best and Fairest award in the AFL there, and we might hear a little bit more about that. But Shaun Hart, welcome this morning to Rise and Shine.
Oh, thanks, Des and Andy. Good morning and good to be with you.
Now, you're going to have to forgive us because Des and myself are both not AFL fans, but that's the Brownlow Medal, isn't it? I couldn't remember what it was. The Brownlow Medal is that award you won for the best player in a grand final, isn't it?
No, it's actually called the Norm Smith Medal. The Brownlow is for the competition's best player across the year.
Oh, there you go. So you won the Norm Smith Medal, correct?
Yes, that's the player of the grand final. So I was fortunate enough in 2001 to be given that award.
Amazing, mate. And you won 3 premierships. I mean, how many people can say that in any code of football? That's just incredible. But, Shaun, today we've been asking people questions. You know, have you been through a tough time? If you have, you know, what's the best piece of advice you've received? But before we get on to that with you, mate, tell us your story. How did you become a Christian?
Yeah, well, I was all caught up in, and my whole life and identity and purpose was all built on becoming a rich and famous AFL footballer. And I got drafted in about 1990, and I came to the Gold Coast. And my early time was just learning about how hard it was to play professional sport in the physical, mental, and spiritual, in all 3 dimensions of my being. And I remember getting to a point in the second season of my career, where I just was exhausted. I wasn't even sure whether I was going to get a new contract to keep going. And I started to really question, what is the true meaning and purpose of my life? It can't be about football, which probably or possibly could fade away quickly and going to fade away at some time anyway. And yet I'm building everything on it. And so I started to search a bit for a deeper meaning, deeper purpose to my life. And I fortunately met a lady now, Linda, who is now my wife. Met her a long, long time ago, and she was a Christian, a lady who just, oozed out joy and faith, and she was just an amazing woman. And I just saw in her some stuff that I clearly knew was missing in me, and I wondered what that was. And
well, hang on, let's stop there, Sean. Let's stop there, because you are fairly well known at this time. You're playing professional football, AFL, which, in Melbourne, it's like a religion, and you had money, had success, and you're saying that this lady's Christian joy, that simple joy in her heart, was something that drew you because you felt like you didn't have that.
Absolutely. I thought the joy would come through, playing professional sport and the pursuit there, but I just found it exhausting, to be honest, and it was really stressful, and pressure and all of the things that life can throw at us was certainly heaping up on me, for sure. That's exactly what it felt like, yeah. And she just showed me a different life, a new life, a life where there's a greater meaning and purpose to who she was, her identity and her purpose, and she wasn't pursuing anything like I thought I was, and yet she had so much more joy.
Isn't it amazing how that can happen? You think in the corporate world or the sporting world that the world is your oyster and everything's going to be happy and a bed of roses and you're making lots of money and you're doing whatever you're doing. But at the end of the day, that's empty. Because you need to have more, and you have to have more, and you have to have more. You need to play better. You need to be in a better team or whatever that looks like. But then something very simple like somebody who shows the grace of God, who loves life, who loves doing the simple things in life, shines in your face. That's
amazing.
Really cool.
Amazing, Sean. So tell us then, mate, how did you actually meet Jesus? Where did that happen? Did you go to a church service, or did this lady share with you? What happened, mate?
Yes, Linda invited me to her church on the Gold Coast, and I went along. I was definitely pursuing her at the time, and yet I that day I found exactly what I needed, what was missing in my life, and that was the love of God, the knowledge that there is a God who loves me, that created me on purpose for His purpose, and that through Jesus Christ I could have a true relationship with this God. And I heard an incredible testimony of a European lion tamer by the name of Case Shragi, and he talked about putting his head into the mouths of lions and working with orcas and all sorts of stuff, but ultimately talked about the meaning and purpose of his life and coming to faith and to follow Jesus and knowing the love of God and understanding his identity in that, and that was clearly what I was missing. I just heard what I needed to hear, and then at the end of the sermon, the preacher said, "You know what? You could be a footballer with all the fame and fortune you ever wanted." I was amongst 300 people, and I knew he was speaking straight to my heart. And yet, what would it be worth if you sold your soul to get all of that? And I thought, that's exactly what I do. That's the life I'm living at the moment, and that's not the life that's bringing me joy and freedom and peace. And so I decided that day with another 3 people to follow Christ, and it's the greatest decision I've ever made. There's no doubt about it. It solved the deeper yearning in my heart about who I was and my meaning and purpose.
Man, Sean, it's a message for the whole of Australia, because right now so many people, especially young people, think if I just become famous, a TikToker or a YouTuber, and if I just make a lot of money, my life will be fulfilled. And here's you. You've hit the pinnacle of sport, mate. You've won 3 premierships with the Lions. You were very well known back in the day. You made a lot of money, and it's only Jesus that's given you this sense of joy and peace, mate. What an amazing story. Sean, can I ask you to hang around, because I want to ask you a question after this break, and that is, the best piece of advice you've ever received in a tough time. If you're just joining us, this is Sean Hart, former AFL star, Brisbane Lions player. They won 3 premierships. They were almost unbeatable back in the day, and he actually won best and fairest on grand final day in one of those games. He's with us now on Rise and Shine. Stick around, more to come from Sean Hart. You're with Des and Andy today.
Love the Rise and Shine podcast? Tell a friend today.
A very special guest. His name is Shaun Hart. He won 3 premierships as an AFL player with the Brisbane Lions, even won the best and fairest on grand final day, reached the pinnacle of his sport. And just earlier, he shared with us how he met Jesus. And Shaun, I'm so glad you stuck around. And I want to ask you a question, Shaun. You know, obviously you became a Christian, which is amazing. But on your life journey, what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given when you're going through a tough time?
Well, funny enough, I think I did come to faith, but shortly after that, I had a real challenge, and it was a faith crisis, really, and so I was challenged because my performance dropped away, and I found myself actually so unwell, so depressed, funny enough, for about 6 weeks because I was so out of form and so fearful of losing the thing that I was building my whole identity, my whole purpose on, my football. And so I was only young in faith. I didn't know really how to activate and believe and understand how to work through this time. And it was through my wife, Linda, and our football club chaplain, Dean Davis, who I credit much of my own life story to, that he gave me some advice. And that advice literally was that my performance is never truly my identity. So I can't find my identity in performance. In other words, it is part of who I am, no doubt. What we do is part of who we are, but the love of God ultimately is where we need to find our true identity. And I didn't know that, but I understood through Dean and through his ministry to me in the my time of need, where for 6 weeks I would tuck myself under my sheets in my bed. I just didn't want to face the world. I didn't want to go to football training, but he encouraged me and just helped me understand that the love of God is my true identity, that I can't find my true identity in performance. And so that has been the greatest bit of advice I've had, no doubt about it, and has helped me. What it helped me do from there, clearly, is actually continue to play football at a high level, but without the fear of losing that, but understanding that I was playing for the glory of God, and because God had me there for a greater reason than my own fame and my own fortune.
I mean, it's really great. There's 2 messages there. One is, you find yourself with a great mate who understood you and wanted to get alongside you and help you through that journey. But the second is the advice that he gave, and that is get closer to God, find your identity in him rather than what you do. And so both of those are so powerful. Well done, man. That's really cool.
Yeah, thank you. I think that was the time, that I truly understood how to open my heart fully to Jesus and to let him truly lead my life and to trust him. Faith is truly about trusting him and knowing that no matter what, it's going to be okay. God is in control because, I think with our health and with things like I experienced in that period, our hearts and our minds can get so sick if we think the wrong things, if we believe the wrong things, and yet if we understand where our true identity comes from, our true purpose comes from, that the love of God is the most powerful force in the universe, and we all need it. We all need him. That we will be okay in all circumstances.
And a lot of people today, Shaun, go through what you're going through. Mental health is a major challenge, not only in Australia. If you study the whole Western world, about 20% of adults across the Western world now will suffer from some form of mental health challenge in their adult life. And that advice you were given was just so powerful. Number one, you listen to a good person. And number two, draw near to God, find your identity in Christ. I'm sure now you've turned the tables now and you're giving lots of good advice to people too, Shaun.
Well, thank you for that question. It's a great leading question. I love coaching. I think it's a thing that God has equipped me to do and given me passion for. So, and in my coaching and the coaching model I love is 3D or 3-dimensional coaching, and it's about coaching people in all 3 dimensions of their being. And so in that we have a transformational purpose statement, and mine is to love and encourage people to discover their true identity and purpose and help others do the same. And so that's the why of my coaching, and that's the thing that drives me. And it all comes from my own experience, from my own dark times and from my own understanding of the love of God and how critical it is to our well-being.
And it's so good you can speak into other people because, I mean, you've been in those dark times and so many men and women, I guess, as well, go through those dark times where they don't see a way out and there's no light at the end of the tunnel. And, once you give them a vision of Jesus' role in their lives, that creates that light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And they have hope.
Totally right.
They have a hope. They've got a future. They've got something to live for. And we talked to a guy called Wayne earlier who was talking about the fact that he sowed into other people's lives when he reached that dark point, and you've done exactly the same.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. Sean, I could talk to you all day, or more to the point, listen to you all day. I was basically in tears before when you shared your story about how you met Jesus. It's a story that the whole world needs to hear, because the whole world right now needs Jesus. But Sean, I want to thank you so much for giving us your very valuable time this morning on Rise and Shine and sharing your salvation story, and also just some advice that you've been given and that you now give to others. And this is Sean Hart, former AFL star, won 3 premierships with the Brisbane Lions, also won the best and fairest on the day of a grand final. And I want to thank you again, Sean, for joining us this morning on Rise and Shine.
My pleasure, guys. All the best. Thank you.
Just the right mix of things to inspire and things to make you smile. Rise and Shine on Vision.
Fell away today for her daughter's 18th. It's a big one. Good to put family first ahead of a job and career and calling if you can. Des, we're 2 hours in.
We are.
What do you think?
I think it's fantastic.
You enjoying it?
I love it, yeah.
Are you ever going to vacate that seat again?
No, it's got my name on it.
Well, the Fighting Irish.
Really,
I mean, we got the Fighting Irish here. We got Desi in the chair. I don't think Phil stands a chance, Des, against you.
She's great.
Especially with your corporate background too.
Well, we love Phil.
If you don't know, we do love Phil. But if you don't know Des, he was a high flyer in the corporate space. I think he worked for Qantas for a while, didn't
Qantas and NRMA and Deutsche Bank. And
so you know how to sort of do things in boardrooms and make things happen. You know?
I've had some amazing experiences in boardrooms.
Move people on and take their jobs. So I just pray for Phil right now, Lord. Just help her with the Fighting Irish, Des, in the chair there. He's having a good time, Lord.
I think I've got nothing on my plate, really.
But anyway, it's good having you, mate. Des is our fill-in today. I'm going to do the weather right now, Des, from Sydney. And the low today is 10, high of 17, and there's a bit of rain, very similar to the Brisbane weather, which I read out an hour ago. And I'm showcasing all of the cities today, Des, that have...
just a lot colder.
Well, it's only a little bit colder today.
3 or 4 degrees makes all the difference.
Well, it does. It does make a bit of a difference. Yeah. But what I was going to say is that we have digital radio in Sydney. So Vision are broadcasting across the whole of Sydney through digital radio. So our audience in Sydney is growing, which is so exciting. About 7 million people in Sydney. It's a huge city. It keeps growing. Yeah. And I'm just so excited by the thought that if someone's got a digital radio in their car or a smart speaker, they can tune in to Vision Radio.
Or on the app, which is just amazing.
I think we have about almost 90,000 people Australia-wide now listening to Vision through the app every day.
Well, that's amazing, and welcome to every one of you. That's fantastic to have you on board.
God bless you. And I think Des from Momentum Australia is about to give you a Bible verse now,
I am indeed. I absolutely.
Hit me with the Bible, Des.
And it's a great verse, and it's Isaiah 26:4, and it says, "Trust in the Lord forever, for the Lord God is an everlasting rock."
Gee, that's good. What do you like about that verse?
I just love the fact that, God is a rock. In any circumstance, in any trial that we're going through, if you trust in God, it's a bit like Wayne earlier. I mean, his whole story was based around trusting God, and and he focused on other things other than the hole he was in, and held on to that rock, which is God, and his life changed.
Yeah, so
it's
good.
Amazing.
So good and so true. Well, if you're just joining us, this is Des Kennedy from Momentum Australia. He's joining me today because Phil is away. We're going to have an exciting hour this hour. Des will be talking to our chaplains, our local church pastors Mark and Cindy, also talking about World Hunger Day, which is tomorrow here on Vision. We'll talk to some people about that as well, and much, much more. Also the Bible, not the Bible story, say enough, the Beat the Toaster game, which is another fun game we play here on Vision. So much to look forward to. Glad you're with us today.
I've heard of all-day breakfast on the menu, but here's a brekkie show available 24/7. Thanks for streaming the Rise and Shine Daily Podcast.
We asked the question earlier, Des, what's the best piece of advice you've received in a tough time? And I can see someone else has called in. His name is Glenn. Glenn, what advice did you receive when you were going through a dark time?
I went through a pretty tough time and sort of tried to commit suicide and ended up in a rehab back in 2022, I think it was. Did about 2 years in different rehabs, then came out. And one of the things I learnt that was important through the Bible was connection. If you look at Genesis, you need Adam when he ate the apple, he sort of disconnected himself from God. God came looking for him. If you look at Jesus in the New Testament, he sort of had a connection with God the whole time, and then he connected with people around him. He developed his inner circle, the 3 disciples, then a larger circle of the disciples, and then his followers that used to go around and camp with him, and then his larger congregation around Israel. And it's all about connection and getting close and talking and having people to look up to and staying connected with God.
Yeah. So good, mate. Did someone share with you, or did you just read your Bible and God spoke to your heart directly? How did you get that advice to get close to God?
It was a Christian rehab I went into, and didn't actually come out as such as so much, so I just learned it as I was going through the different group sessions and sermons and everything that we used to go through. That came out, and sort of just noticed that in addiction, when you're going through ice, because they used to use ice quite a bit, you can see yourself isolating yourself from everybody, and sort of thinking that you're not really worth it. So you're getting back to that connection makes the difference, and it helps sort of break that need, because I think everyone has a internal need for that connection, and it builds up a lot of things like self-worth and other things that go with it.
Yeah, that's so true. We talk on Momentum a lot about connection, about doing life with other men, and getting men around you, who you can close to, and talk about things that are going on in your world, like identity, like everything, like addictions and pornography and all those things. If you get somebody alongside you who can hold you accountable and you can talk openly to, it's such a great part of doing life.
And it's also that that you know someone well enough that they can ask you the next question besides "Are you okay?"
Yes, exactly right. I mean, it's
push a bit deeper.
Yeah, I mean, Australians are noted for that, don't they? If you ask them, any Australian how they're going, they say, "Yeah, I'm good. The football was good at the weekend," or whatever it was. But as you rightly said, it's asking that next question: how are you really? How are you feeling? What's going on in your world? And having a friend that you can ask those sort of questions with is so cool.
Yeah. And Glenn, I want to thank you for being so open and honest about your journey too. I mean, you've obviously been through a really tough time, mate. And it takes guts to ring up like you've done and share your story. Yeah.
Well, now I work as a support worker in drug health service, so that's what I do daily. So
Good on you, mate. And do you find helping others has actually helped you on your journey as well?
Yeah, it does. It makes you feel, because one of the things you also really need is a purpose, and that's one of the things that came out of once I was sitting in, I stayed in the psych ward for about a month after I tried to overdose on drugs about 3 times. So God said, okay, well, you're meant to be here. You're meant to be here to do something. And at the moment, I have a lot of people that think I'm in the right place at the right time.
So good, mate.
Where I'm going to go in the future is up to God, I think.
It is, mate. Glenn, I really appreciate you calling. As I said earlier, your story's going to, I know, inspire a lot of people and encourage a lot of people, whether we're going through a time similar to yours or maybe we've got a relative or a friend or a neighbour who has. I think your story can encourage all of us that there's hope for everyone.
Yeah, it's good, man.
There's
well
light
done.
in the darkest tunnel, mate. And we just pray for you, Glenn, that God just keeps strengthening you and empowering you and leading you, guiding you into his purposes and using you to be a blessing to many people, as you've been today by sharing your story with us here on Rise and Shine. Thanks again, Glenn.
Thank you.
Subscribe and listen to the Rise and Shine podcast in the free Vision app. It's easy and available everywhere.
The pastors Mark and Cindy Kuyava have joined us today. They are the chaplains to Vision every Wednesday. Pastors Mark and Cindy, welcome again.
Oh, so good to be here.
Good morning. So great to be here. Lovely to be here with Des too.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
It's not a competition, but who's better looking right now? Who's looking the best? I've had little or no sleep last night. Des is a male model. So who are you going to
There's
give
no
post to?
comparison.
Look, I'm sorry, it's national TV, but
It's
Des,
Mark.
mate, Des is
It's
just
Mark.
championing it.
Des has taken a gold medal. I'd agree with that. But anyway, we digress. Pastors Mark and Cindy, do you have a devotional word for us today?
We do. Hey, it's been a long 3-part series of this. We're actually getting through it, but we'll be looking at John 10:27. It says that my sheep, they hear my voice. I know them, and they follow me. So we looked at the first part, hearing. What's that look like? What voices are you hearing? Are you hearing the right kind of voices in your head, or are you hearing what the Word of God says about you? Those kind of voices. We also talked about I know you. That idea, like, hey, we've got to let God in.
Yeah.
We've got to let God in, but it really doesn't mean that. It actually means that God has made a way in His own gracious love that He gives us an opportunity to come to Him. You know what I mean? So that's pretty cool. That's fantastic. And now we're looking at the third one, which is very good, of following, the idea of following.
Yeah.
What does following mean?
Yeah, so following, I really like this. It actually means companion, expressing union or likeness, or a way. So it actually means one going in the same way. So I like that, we're not just on our own journey. We're going in a direction, but He is our companion. He never leaves us. We're going in His direction, and He is there on the journey the whole way.
That idea of discipleship,
Yes.
And that's what He said, if you are my disciple, you're going to hear me and hear me right. You're going to know to come into me, come bold into the throne, open up your heart, and you're going to have to follow me, disciple. So I think of things like surrendering, laying up the cross. What I mean, taking that up, forgiveness of sin. I mean, being transparent for God. All those kind of things. I also think of the word obedience, and this is where we struggle. Humanity struggles with obedience. We don't want to give up our will. Jesus said, "Not my will, but yours be done." We really struggle to give up our will and being obedient to God. And I think it's a real basic foundation of the Christian faith, is learning to be obedient to Him. The flesh doesn't want to do that.
Right.
Yes.
It doesn't want to do that. Our own mindset, our hurts, our pains, we don't want to be obedient to God, especially when He tells us to do something, So it's not just about following rules, but it's about aligning one's actions with God's will. And I think that's where it goes that little bit deeper. So other scriptures like turn the other cheek, love your neighbor, all that kind of stuff. To love someone, you might not like them, but you have to love them, all that kind of stuff. Being obedient to the Lord and His purposes is really hard. So
is that what you're like with me, out of interest, that you don't like me, but you have to love me? So getting that vibe today. You gave Des the gold medal for best look in the studio, but you didn't even think about it.
He talks about you all the time, Andy, in a loving, caring way.
Sorry, we digress.
No, we'll segue it back, but no problems at all. But it's even in the scriptures where the Lord, or the sort of God, sort of saying, if you want to be with me, like, keep my commandments. Yeah. It's kind of like that's something we have to be obedient to. We have to get up in the morning. We have to pray. We have to do our things. We have to be obedient to God. So, in what ways does your life reflect obedience to God's kingdom way? And that's something to think about. I don't know about you, Des. How do you go with obedience?
No, I think it's very, very true. And it's not only just about doing the right thing, but it is serving Him.
Yes.
Taking His advice on what you should do and how you should lead your life.
Yeah.
With the Holy Spirit guiding us and leading us, into serving Him and producing fruit from doing that.
That's it. That's it. So that's been a 3-part pull apart of John 10:27. Be people that hear Him right, hear those voices, the right voices. Be somebody, that not only opens your heart, but know that there is an open doorway, and God graciously says, come and be with me, so we can open up ourselves to Him in that way and be obedient, following the will of God, because it's bound to be a lot better than the way that we want to do things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Such a good message. And all started with that scripture about Jesus saying we're His sheep and He's the shepherd.
Yeah.
I still love that imagery, mate. We're just little sheep just trying to follow the shepherd and do what we're told, be obedient and find that purpose in the shepherd, not in ourselves.
Correct.
Imagine a sheep on its own. If you see a sheep on its own down the beach or at the shops, it's hopeless.
It's baharing everywhere.
It needs a shepherd.
Yeah,
it needs someone to lead it.
Exactly. You rarely see a sheep alone. Hey, they have to be in community to survive.
They don't last long on their own, do they?
They don't.
No.
Pastors Mark and Cindy, as always, what a huge blessing you both are. Thank you for joining us. I might actually ask you to stick around and ask you a question.
Sure.
And I'm not going to tell you what the question is right now, but just
sure.
stick around.
Do I do 60-second thing?
Well, yeah, I might give you 2 minutes. I might give that's coming up later as well. But hey, this is Pastors Mark and Cindy Cuyavar. They are the local church pastors who come into Vision once a week and chaplain the staff here.
Brought to you by the generosity of Vision family members across Australia and around the world. The Rise and Shine podcast.
I've been asking a question today, guys. What's the best piece of advice you've received in a tough time? Pastor Cindy, over to you.
Okay. When I was 14, I was going through a difficult time. My parents were being divorced, and we went to a church, and I heard the testimony of a guy who had had a horrible life, criminal, was in a house, bunkered down, surrounded by police, and he cried out to God. He ended up going to prison, but he got saved, and it turned his life around. But the point was, he said, the only one who can truly save you is Jesus. Yeah. So whatever the tough situation, whatever it looks like for you, call out to Jesus. Yeah. He is the one that can only truly save you.
And that got you through that tough time, because it is tough as a kid, isn't it, when your parents get divorced?
Absolutely. It's horrible.
Wow.
So good.
Yeah,
well done, hon.
Thanks.
Well done getting through that. I got a couple.
Yeah.
First of all, I remember, as you do, as pastoring in church, and you get a building and all that kind of stuff, and you work your way through. I remember one pastor turned to me. He said, "Mark, it's easy to attain, but it's harder to maintain." And this is the thing, we push towards getting something, but then once you're in it, it's hard after that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's some people say, "Oh, I just need a building. Man, the building comes with a whole lot of stuff you've got to keep maintaining, and that's the same with all things that you do in life. You attain, you put all your effort to get through, and that breakthrough, yes, we've got it, and then you take your hands off the wheel or whatever it is, and then all of a sudden the enemy just wipes you out, to maintain your faith and all that. That's important. And the second one is this, going through battles. One senior minister said to me, "Mark, the joy and the blessing of getting through this battle is that you can face another battle again."
Wow. Isn't that good
and it's
news?
true.
That's so encouraging.
Right. That's the reward. He says, the reward of getting through this battle is that you'll get to face another battle.
Wow.
And I think that's pretty cool when you think about it.
It is cool, but it is challenging.
But it's true.
In
our spiritual walk and battle, we have to keep pushing through.
Well, it's also biblical, because Paul said to the new believers in the book of Acts, through many tribulations, you will enter the kingdom of God. And we can't shy away from this.
No.
We need to be robust enough to face those challenges.
Correct.
Pastors Mark and Cindy, you've nailed it yet again. And you've answered the question, which, we've had a couple of really good calls about this today as well, haven't we, Des?
Sure,
and thanks for sharing your hearts and your experiences with us. And just thanks for being with us again on Rise and Shine.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me Vision's breakfast show is now available around the clock and on demand? Incredible! The Rise and Shine podcast. Rise and Shine.
Beat the toaster.
It is an exciting game, Des, where you've only got 60 seconds to answer 10 questions. And a very brave individual by the name of Dave has stepped up to the plate today to play potentially one of the greatest Christian game shows on radio in the world today. Dave, welcome to Rise and Shine.
Oh, thank you, Andy.
How you feeling, mate?
Yeah, good. Yeah, it's been a great morning so far, even though it's a little bit miserable.
Oh, a little bit miserable. A bit like old Blight, isn't it, Governor?
Yeah, isn't it?
In it. Now, brother, you've got 60 seconds to answer these 10 questions coming up, but we like to start this with a little question. Did you have your breakfast this morning? And if so, what did you have?
No, I haven't had breakfast. I've just stopped at a coffee van on the corner to grab my first coffee this morning.
Oh, there you go. So you're firing on an empty stomach. Do you perform better on an empty stomach, or do you do better after a bit of food in the belly?
Yeah, I'm pretty good empty, actually. Not too bad.
Okay.
Confident there?
I sense some quiet confidence, Des. Yeah. Well, get ready, brother, because we're going to start the clock very soon. It's like putting the toaster in, putting the bread in the toaster, I should say. And I'm going to hit you with these 10 questions very shortly. Are you ready to rock and roll? Remember, all your answers have to start with the letter A. Are you ready to play, Dave?
Yeah, ready when you are.
Your time starts now. Something you keep in the fridge.
Apple.
A colour.
Amber.
An occupation.
Architect.
Something you take camping.
Oh, no.
You can pass.
Let's pass. An illness or disease.
Anthrax.
A TV show.
Gone blank.
It's okay, pass that one. A sport or game.
AFL.
A popular band or artist.
Adaman.
A foreign city.
Africa.
No, that's it. That's a place. A city. I want a city.
City. Arizona.
There you go. A 5-letter word.
Oh,
Dave.
Oh, man.
Dave.
And there I was, had full support in you, Dave. I thought you were going to nail it.
Look, he started strong.
Yeah, he did.
He started strong. He was out of the blocks. I mean, he would have beaten Usain Bolt if it was the first 5 metres, as Usain Bolt, I should say. But, Dave, you did really, mate, it's really hard. I personally couldn't win this game. It's too hard.
Thank you.
But
mate,
pressure. A little bit of pressure there, mate. But I think the one you struggled with was a TV show, Amazing Race, Australian Story, or A Current Affair.
Yeah, true.
So
something you take camping.
Something you take camping, an air mattress or air guard.
Oh, yeah, good. Yeah.
Now you are from Old Blighty, aren't you? From England originally, is that right?
That's right, yeah.
Did you ever do camping as a kid in England?
Only in the backyard.
Yeah, there you go. So that's why it was unfair. It was an unfair question. Blame Des for that because he told me to ask you that question. So that was your Achilles heel, brother. But Dave, thank you so much for playing the game today, mate. You have a really good day.
Yeah, cheers. God bless you. Bye.
Okay.
I've heard of all-day breakfast on the menu, but here's a brekkie show available 24/7. Thanks for streaming the Rise and Shine Daily Podcast.
Well, tomorrow, Des, the show's going to be a little bit different because all across Australia, every Christian radio station in Australia is going to be partnering with Feed the Hungry, and we're going to be raising money to feed refugee children in northern Uganda. And get this, Des, for just $6, you can feed a child in Uganda for a whole month.
You can't even get your head around that. I mean, for $6, a child gets fed for a month. That's probably a couple of meals a day. That's 60 meals for $6.
Incredible, isn't it?
Wow.
And so it's going to be called End World Hunger Day. That's going to be tomorrow. So the programming tomorrow is going to be a little bit different. And the reason we're doing this is stories like this one. This child's name is Isaac, and he tells a little bit of his story.
And I'm 16 years old. I want to be a doctor. I would like to help people save their lives.
If you consider a child like Isaac, often be 2 days without eating anything. And I think about what are the chances of him achieving his dreams when he's struggling just to find a meal.
I feel like dying because a human being cannot stay without eating. That is impossible. So if you bring the food that you are bringing to us, so we shall stay alive.
Feed the Hungry has always started with a very simple idea that there are children that are hungry and have no one to help them. We want to see them established enough so that they can build their own futures. That's why we provide our meals in a school environment. We all understand that education is the key to escaping the poverty cycle. But for these children who don't have meals, how can you possibly concentrate? So that's a very key part of all of our feeding programs. It seems so simple, $6 to provide a meal for a child in a school for a whole month, but it really unlocks so much more.
Feed the Hungry is important to us at school because they are giving us food that we need. Thank you for everyone who's contributing to Feed the Hungry.
So there you go, Des. Like, this is real. Like, that kid's story is real. But isn't it amazing that these kids have been through such a traumatic time, still have dreams and aspirations to be a doctor and help someone?
Isn't that amazing? And, $6 is nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, you buy a cup of coffee at $6.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if all of us gave up one cup of coffee a day, right, for a month, that is $180.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's 30 kids.
So that's 30 kids. It's amazing. And it's simple.
Yeah.
And so, guys, whoever's listening, get into it.
Yeah.
Really help.
Yeah, and so tomorrow, the whole vision tomorrow will be all about this End World Hunger Day, partnering with Feed the Hungry. So when you tune in tomorrow, it'll be a little bit different, but for a good reason. It's for reasons like little Isaac, that little child in northern Uganda. You're on Rise and Shine this morning with Des and Andy.
We're caffeinated and ready to face the day.
This is Rise and Shine on Vision.
Des, you're 3 hours in. How are you holding up?
Isn't it amazing? Time flies when you're having fun.
So much fun.
Yeah,
and you
that's
just
great.
won the gold medal for best looking in the studio.
I mean, the bar wasn't very high, so it's like...
And the pastors don't lie. I mean, they're not going to be lying. They're telling the truth. They're not preaching today. They're telling the truth. So, look, I'm going to do that's an oldie but a goodie. I'm going to do a weather report from Melbourne. Today, if you're just joining us, I've been showcasing the 3 big cities in Australia that have a digital signal that Vision broadcasts via. So we have digital radio in Brisbane, in Sydney, and also in Melbourne. I've done the weather for Brisbane and Sydney so far. Now I'm going to do it in Melbourne, Des. Ooh, looking at the weather today in Melbourne, the low is actually 3 degrees.
Wow. I mean, that's cold.
It's fresh.
Yeah, fresh is a good word. Yeah,
and the
fresh.
high is 18, which isn't
that's not bad.
That's good. Yeah. It's similar to Sydney and Melbourne's
as
high
long
today.
As there's no wind.
Yeah. And
wind going through Melbourne streets is not good.
Well, the people who do these weather things, they've changed the game. They've moved the goalposts. Now they don't just give you the temperature; they say what it feels like as well, which I don't like because I'm not about touchy feely. But just in case there's someone listening right now and you're into the feels like, it feels like 6.
Whoa!
So it's 3.
That's a big difference.
You know why? Because it's sunny, Des. It's sunny.
Yeah.
And I was just down in Melbourne on the weekend, and I love Melbourne. My daughter and I went down there for a bit of a daddy-daughter getaway.
All right, cool.
And we had 2 sunny days. And, walking through Melbourne with a nice crisp wind, with the sun shining, you don't need a hat, and you just walk along. It's just so nice. I love it. I love it.
Right.
Beautiful city.
Right.
So it's all of our Melbourne listeners right now listening via digital radio. So glad you're with us, and we're hoping and praying that our audience in Melbourne just keeps multiplying. It's the second biggest city in Australia. It's the closest thing to a European city in Australia. I just love the archecture, the old churches, the whole vibe of the place.
And the restaurants.
Oh, the food, Des, the food.
It's amazing, isn't it?
So good.
Yeah.
I don't know how many kilos I put on when I was down there. I haven't checked. But let's just say there was some great food. But Des, have you got a Bible verse for us today?
I do. And it's Psalm 9 and 10. It says, "The Lord is a refuge for the oppressed, a stronghold in times of trouble." Isn't it amazing how, and we've talked about it all day, really, talking about the strength of the Lord and the fact that we can go back and rely on the Lord. He is our shelter. He is our refuge. When we're doing things tough, or we're oppressed, or we're being beaten down by the enemy, the Lord is there as our refuge.
Yeah, so good, Des.
Yes,
so
cool.
good.
It's the daily podcast of your favourite Aussie breakfast show, Rise and Shine.
Tomorrow is Takeaway Hunger Day, and all across Australia, every Christian radio station in Australia is going to be putting an appeal out that for just $6, one person can feed a child in northern Uganda for a whole month.
Isn't that amazing? That one is that you can feed a child for a month for $6. I mean, that's just incredible. But just multiply that. Most of us could afford $60, right?
Yeah.
And that feeds 10 kids in that community for a month. The difference in their world is staggering.
Yeah. And if you're just joining us, these kids are in northern Uganda. They're refugees. They've fled conflict in Sudan and Congo, and they've literally got nothing. Some of them have lost their parents on the journey. And we had the privilege of speaking to the CEO of Feed the Hungry, who are the driving force behind this campaign. They are on the ground in Uganda, feeding thousands of kids every single day. And Ben Evans is the CEO of Feed the Hungry, and we spoke to him recently and just heard a little bit of his heart of why we're doing Takeaway Hunger Day tomorrow.
Takeaway Hunger Day is August the 21st, but this journey this year started in February for me. We're really planning in previous years. And we took a team to capture the stories. I think they've captured those stories, the heart of those stories very well. I'm really looking forward to everyone hearing those stories on Takeaway Hunger Day. But we're on our last day, visiting our last school, and I said to our producer in the field named Andy, I said, we're going to one more school and we need to find someone that we can visit their home. So no pressure, but this is your last chance. Yeah. And the way that we worked, some of our team would listen to a whole bunch of stories, and then they would bring a few for us to record for the audio. And then out of that small group, we would select the student that we went to. This particular chance, we had 3 children, and Andy, his name is, I think Isaac's the one. So we went to visit his story. He lives about 200 meters away from the school, so we're able to walk there and just have a look at his situation. And his cousin, Miak, was there, and she was saying it's very dangerous for us at home because it can be days when we don't eat. And it's hard to get your head around that reality, because we go to the fridge and the cupboard and we say there's nothing to eat. I had lobster yesterday. I want something different. But the reality is, it's like old Mother Hubbard. There is nothing in the cupboard. There is nothing for them to eat. So they'll go to sleep hungry, knowing that there really is nothing in the morning, nothing that's going to make a difference for them.
It's so sad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy.
People actually live like that.
And just to think that if they even have a cupboard, when we go to the fridge and like the guy said, I mean, that we'd look and say, oh, there's nothing I want to eat there, but we've got a choice.
Yeah.
They go to the cupboard and there's nothing.
Yep.
And that we expect those kids to go to school, to get educated. I mean, Isaac wanted to be a doctor. I mean, fair play to him. What a great ambition.
Yeah.
But he can't do that without food.
Exactly.
He has to have that food.
And you're right, most of these kids wouldn't have a cupboard. A friend of mine, his name's King Mo, he's a boxer, Sudanese boxer in Australia now, but he spent 2, I think, or maybe 3 years in a refugee camp in Kenya. He fled the Sudan conflict as well. Yeah. And he said they were just living in a tent.
Yeah.
And at night they were terrified that some of the kids, there were stories of kids being abducted from the tents, and he was the older brother. So this guy would stay up all night protecting his brothers and sisters. No dad there, and he became like the dad, protecting these brothers and sisters for 2 years, living in a tent in a refugee camp.
Yeah. No idea.
So that's what Takeaway Hunger Day is all about tomorrow. It's about you and I making a difference. So the broadcasting tomorrow will be a little bit different on Vision because it's all about Takeaway Hunger Day tomorrow, not our regular broadcasting. But Fel and I will be in the studio together, as all the regulars will be, Neil Johnson and others in the afternoon, Greg Newman and everyone else. So, yeah, it's going to be a different day tomorrow, but it's going to be a good day because our goal is actually to feed 35,000 kids for a month here at Vision through the support and the generosity of people just like you. But up next, Des, we have got our curtain call where we let one of our listeners choose the final song for the day.
How cool is that?
It's very cool. Maybe one day you could call us in with your favourite song.
Okay, I could do that, yeah.
That's coming up next on Rise and Shine, and you with Des and Andy.
You found the podcast of Vision's breakfast show, Rise and Shine.
For me, I was a new Christian when Amy Grant was kind of really prominent, and her songs, it was almost like reading the Bible. You'd listen to an Amy Grant song, you just feel better afterwards.
Well, I didn't get the chance to listen to much of Amy Grant's music, having only become a Christian in 2011, and that she wasn't on my horizon.
Yeah.
But great music, great singer.
Yeah, and had a really big impact in the world. But Des, I want to thank you for joining us. This is Des Kennedy. He's from Momentum Australia. If people want to look you up online right now, Des, what's the best website?
Oh, best website is momentumaustralia.org.
Momentumaustralia.org.
So it's all one word.
Des has an incredible show. It's called Men Momentum or Momentum Men, and it's on many radio stations across Australia. They have a podcast that goes to over 60 nations around the world. They talk about men's health, men's issues. It's a really niche thing. It's a really powerful thing, helping a lot of men. But I want to thank you, Des, for joining us today as my co-host with Fel away. Fel will be back tomorrow for Takeaway Hunger Day, and then Fel and I will be back on Friday with our regular programming. Yeah. But once again, Des, thank you for joining us today on Rise and Shine.
It's been great to be with you. It's been a real blessing. Thank you, man.
And everyone listening, thanks for tuning in today. Glad you're with us. We pray you have a blessed day today.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.